Kirk Merrington Church is dedicated to St. John the Evangelist and dated from Norman times, but the original church was dismantled and replaced by the present Victorian copy in 1850. In 1143 the original building witnessed an unusual siege involving William Cummin, a notorious usurper Bishop of Durham. Cummin, encouraged by King David of Scotland, seized the bishopric of Durham and proclaimed himself Prince Bishop before the appointment of the newly elected Bishop, William of St. Barbara. This was during a period of anarchy in which King Stephen and Matilda were battling it out for control of the English crown. King David, who coveted control in the old kingdom of Northumberland, wanted Cummin to act in his interests. At this time David was in virtual control of the land north of the Tyne, where his son David was the Earl of Northumberland. Cummin recognized the commanding position of Kirk Merrington and seized the church, which he began to convert into a castle, constructing a defensive fosse around it. Such action in a holy place was seen as an extreme act of sacrilege, and Cummin and his band of retainers came under siege from three powerful barons of Durham. A battle ensued in which the barons besieged this would-be fortress with firebrands and eventually ousted Cummin and his men, who escaped from the site. It was said that 2 of Cummin's men were driven insane in the days following the siege, a result of desecrating such a holy spot. Kirk Merrington Graveyard is also the burial place of the victims of the Brass Side murders. This is the story. Back in those days the farm was called Brass House Farm from the family that owned it, and it was members of this family who were victims of a particularly violent and gruesome murder. The intended victim was possibly Jane Brass, aged about 20, who was seemingly very beautiful and attracted much attention from the local lads. One such lad seems to have been the farmhand, Andrew Mills, who was Yane's age but perhaps had a mental age of a younger boy, as he had been a close play friend to Yane's younger sister, 10-year-old Elizabeth. In January 1683, while the parents of the household were away, events unknown unfolded, that culminated in Mills chasing Jane and her brother John, who both took refuge in her room and bolted the door. Mills broke the door with an axe, breaking Yane's arm in the process as she tried to protect her siblings, and then, after gaining access, grappled with the 17-year-old brother, striking him with an axe on the head, fracturing his skull, then cutting his throat before killing Jane in a similar fashion. Poor Elizabeth was sobbing under the bedclothes. She had, until now, had a close relationship with Mill. They would often be seen playing with her toys and dolls or chasing ducks around the farmyard. In her desperation, the 10-year-old had the presence of mind to plead with her would-be murderer. She offered him bread, butter, and sugar, and some toys. Mills relented, spared her life and left the room. But in the passage outside he encountered a hideous creature like a fierce wolf with red fiery eyes. Its 2 legs were like those of a stag, its body resembled an eagle with 2 enormous wings. It was this dreadful apparition who was chanting "Kill all! Kill all!" that sent Mills back into the bedroom to complete his terrible spree. Mills was arrested and charged with murder. The following morning, they were buried in Kirk Merrington Churchyard, a table tomb or altar tomb, and for some reason shortly afterward the word "murdered," describing the nature of their deaths, was scratched off the tombstone, which is clearly visible. Mills initially pleaded his innocence but subsequently confessed and was executed at Dryburn, near Durham in August 1683. His tarred body was then gibbeted, hung in a cage and left to rot, about a mile north of the site of the murders.